Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about Hez Parfums. I was lucky enough to be sent these fragrances, so thank you to Hez Binkowitz, the owner and creator of Hez Parfums. A little bit about this fragrance brand. They were created in 2002, so they've been in business for a couple years now. And Hez Binkowitz wanted to create a brand of fragrances that incorporated like unique fragrance blends that used high quality oils. What makes this collection so special is that, yes, the company is based in New Orleans, and this collection is heavily inspired by the lively streets of the French Quarter and the lush gardens of the Garden District in New Orleans. And I think that's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful tie-in and an homage to him growing up and the area he grew up in. I think he did a really beautiful job with these fragrances, and honestly, I was really impressed with a lot of them. Some I really enjoyed, and others didn't work for me as much, but I honestly really enjoyed the vibe and the sort of like roller coaster ride it took me down. They're really beautiful fragrances, really well done, and that's what we're going to be getting into today. I have 13 fragrances that I want to talk about, and yeah, without a further ado, let's get into it. The first one I'm going to talk about, and the packaging looks like this. It comes in a really beautiful black box. It says Hez Parfums on it. Let me get that to focus. And this one is called Voodoo Magic. So as you can tell, it's inspired by voodoo. And this one is a really cool one. I believe this one was inspired actually by like the inside of a voodoo shop and like that sort of feel you would get. And honestly, I can definitely see the inspiration behind it because when I smell this honestly like transported me into what I think a voodoo shop would actually smell like. Now with this one, you've got notes of pink pepper, grapefruit, raspberry, anise, orris, coconut. You've got tobacco, oud, tonka, rose, more oud in the base, caramel, coffee, patchouli, incense, and sandalwood. And primarily what I get in this fragrance is almost a leathery vibe. I'm not sure what's creating that leathery vibe. I think it's a combination of the orris mixing in with that tonka and oud and the anise. I'm definitely getting a bit of a suede-y, almost kind of leathery vibe, but there's something very dark, mysterious, almost a little dusty, like you walked into a voodoo shop and it's a little dark. It might be a little dingy. There's the smell of this like old-timey magic in the air. This is a really gorgeous fragrance. I would recommend this more on a man. I did wear this and I did find that even though it is unisex, it pulled more masculine in my opinion. This is what the bottle looks like, by the way, in case you want to get a close-up. The bottle is actually really kind of nice. I kind of like the shape of it. It feels really good in the hand. And it has a little bit of weight. It's a nice glass bottle. And I really like the stickers on here, honestly. Like, it's really kind of cute. Really easy to throw in my bag. You know, sometimes I like a really, like, ornate sort of bougie bottle. But I also really enjoy this style of bottle just because it's so easy to take on the go. And I'm one that likes to, like, I don't like to travel with bougie bottles, honestly. Like, there's no way I'm going to pack my, like, Xerjoff bottle or, like, you know, one of my really fancy bottles. It's just too much of a hassle, and a lot of the times I'm scared they're gonna break. But with this one, this is so easy to travel with and it fits in my bag so perfectly. I really like the style of these bottles. They're just really easy, hearty, nice and heavy bottle too. I like the glass sort of feel. It's not too heavy, but it's got a little bit of a weight. Oh, but anyway, back to the fragrance. Yeah, I get sort of like almost like a cloth band-aidy like sort of vibe. Almost like if I found a voodoo doll wrapped in a cloth sort of band-aidy or like a cloth wrap. There's a little bit of dust. I smell the wood, you know, shelves that are collecting dust. This is kind of a vibe. There's a slight juiciness to this. It's not a juicy fragrance though, like fruity juicy. It's almost got like a slightly plumish vibe. It's really interesting. There's depth, there's darkness, there's mysteriousness behind this fragrance. I think it's a really nice one. More geared towards my men out there. But if you want something that's really going to transport you to like a voodoo shop in the middle of New Orleans, then Voodoo Magic is probably going to be the one for you. I was honestly kind of shook. This one is a monster when it comes to longevity and projection. Like, I sprayed this at night before going to bed. I woke up and I can still smell it pretty strong on my hand and on my clothes. Lingers on clothes forever. The projection on this is pretty long, honestly. I was really surprised by this one. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is one that came in slightly different packaging. This one is called Plum Confiture. And this one is a plum-based fragrance. Now, you've got notes of plum, cinnamon, nutmeg, honey, tobacco. You've got guaiac wood. You've got amberwood, and you have oud in the base. And this one is really, really beautiful. I think this one is easily unisex with maybe the slightest masculine lean. But honestly, I could totally rock this one. When you spray it, you get this initial blast of wood. And as it starts settling down, you get this really yummy honeyed facet and the juiciness of this plum. It's really quite addictive. The tobacco and the honey give this sort of like tobacco-y honey and cinnamony vibe because there's also cinnamon in this. But this is really beautiful. It's slightly spiced, but not overtly spicy. It's really smooth. And honestly, if you know those plum cigarillos, the ones that are sort of like berry flavored, I almost get a slight homage to those. It's really, really beautiful. I get this beautiful like flavored pipe tobacco in an old-timey wooden pipe. That's the sort of vibe I get. There's something really mysterious and sort of jazzy about this. It's just really, really beautiful. This reminds me kind of like what I would expect an old-timey jazz club to smell like. It's really, really gorgeous, and I highly recommend it. This one, again, a very long-lasting fragrance. I think a lot of men would really enjoy this, and the right woman would definitely be able to rock this. I think this one is a 10 out of 10 fragrance. I highly suggest checking this one out, especially if you are a big fan of plum in your fragrances. This is a gorgeous plum fragrance that has this beautiful sort of spiced honey tobacco as the backbone and the oud to push it forward to make it really a long-lasting fragrance. Honestly, really a stunner. I knew I was going to like this the second I saw the plum note because I'm super into plum notes and fragrances. And that one did not disappoint. I really like that one. Oh, and when this dries down, it is so stinking beautiful. And it lingers in the air so beautifully and creates more of an aura around you. Oh, it's really yummy. Honestly, would love to smell this on a man. I wore this the other day and I was like in heaven walking around. Highly suggest checking this one out, you guys. Plum Confiture. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is a gourmand from the house. And this one is called Cafe Beignet. Now, this one was absolutely a joy to wear. It was delicious. My gourmand lovers out there, definitely check this one out. Let me get it to focus. You've got notes of coffee, cinnamon, brown sugar, iris, vanilla, cacao, sandalwood, and oud in the base. And just because there is oud, don't be worried. This is not at all stanky or oudy in any way. This is just delicious. I wore this the other day and I got told that I smelled like breakfast, but like in a good way, like almost pancakey. But I definitely get that sort of like patisserie accord, like that sort of bready sort of vibe. There is something that gives me almost like a pancakey vibe, but to me, I smell like a delicious flaky beignet with almost like a powdered sugar on there. And for some weird reason, I almost get like this banana-y vibe that kind of reminds me of like a banana pancake. It's really quite delicious. I love how smooth the sandalwood and oud are in this. Like I said, it's not overtly oudy or stanky. I primarily get more sandalwood, but the oud and sandalwood are mixing in so beautifully and it's really rounded out by the cacao. I really do get that cacao vibe. Oh, but it's so good. That cacao with the brown sugar and cinnamon is almost giving me an homage to banana. I don't know how, but my nose is picking up this slightly banana-y vibe, like a banana cream. It's really, really beautiful. It's like having a dessert and then having like a coffee being brewed in the background. Very lightly though, very lightly. This is gorgeous. There is something about this that reads a little bit nutty too, which I find really interesting, being that there's no nutty note. Oh, but this is absolutely divine. My lovers of gourmand fragrances, this is long lasting. It projects really well. And if you just want to smell delicious and get complimented on how delicious you smell, Cafe Beignet all the way. This is a gorgeous gourmand fragrance that honestly is so freaking good. Like, I couldn't stop wearing this the first day that I got it. I think I wore it like for 2 days straight. It was really, really yummy. Honestly, really enjoyed this one. It's a really beautiful one. If you are a fan of gourmands and you want something that's going to be long lasting, that's going to project a good 2 feet, that one's a really, really beautiful option. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is one called Raspberry Electrique. And this one is a really gorgeous one. It is primarily a citrusy fragrance, in my opinion. You've got notes of lemon, raspberry, let me show you, grapefruit, saffron. You have gin, you have cherry blossom, you have patchouli, cedarwood, vetiver, and musk. And this is a gorgeous cocktail. It's almost like a raspberry lemonade cocktail. It's really interesting and really fun for summer. This one is a bit lighter than all the ones that I'm talking about now. This is more on me like a skin scent, but like a really yummy skin scent that in high heat is going to project a lot further. Right now it's still pretty cold, so I need to really test this one out in high heat, but on initial blast you get this gorgeous citrusy note, and then right behind it followed up is that raspberry. It's a juicy, yummy raspberry. I get a lemon raspberry lemonade with a little bit of gin. It's got that little extra sparkle, that little extra something. This is really light. It's beautiful. There's slightly floral aspects in the background, but it's not overtly a floral fragrance by any means. This is primarily, to my nose, lemon, raspberry, and gin, and it is so yummy. It is a gorgeous cocktail that is going to do so beautifully in summertime. I'm honestly kind of obsessed with this one. Even though it's been cold in my area, I've worn this a few times just because I've been indoors and like didn't even care. I just crank up the heat, and in the heat, yeah, this was it. This is gonna smell so good in summertime. Like I said, this one was more skin scenty around me, but did create a nice comfortable bubble around me. This little gorgeous aura of just yummy raspberry lemonade deliciousness. Honestly, really excited to try this one out in summer. I'm kind of stoked. And this one lasted about 5 or so hours on my skin. And yeah, projected more as a little cloud around me, this nice little skin scent. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is called Hand Grenade. Now, this is inspired by another cocktail in Louisiana that comes in a sort of a hand grenade sort of cup. It's a plastic green hand grenade cup. And when I saw the notes, I knew I had to try it out because the first note in this was melon and then it was salt, and I'm obsessed with the salty fragrance, but this has melon, salt, gin, rum, cherry blossom, sandalwood, amorous wood, and musk. And this is what it looks like. This one is called Hand Grenade, and you guys, this is delicious. This is so fruity with that melon being in the forefront. As soon as you spray it, you get that gin and the melon. It's like boom, and hits you in the face. As it starts to settle down, you get this sort of salty quality. And I know this is weird, I love salty skin, that sort of accord. It reminds me of like being at the beach. It's very like vacation-y smelling. And I feel like it elevates fragrances to another level, like Jo Malone's wood sage and sea salt or whatever. Love the salty note in that. This gives me almost like that same sort of salty vibe, but this revolves around that melon. You get the melon throughout this fragrance, and it is so beautiful. It really feels like you're on a vacation drinking a beautiful melon-based cocktail. Ah, the cherry blossom in this just makes it so dainty and beautiful and lively. Honestly, a unisex fragrance, but this one I would say leans a little bit more on the feminine side. This is absolutely delicious. If you are a fan of melon and fragrance, do yourself a favor and get this one. This one, again, was more on the soft side as far as projection. I feel like this one is going to be a monster in summer and high heat. Right now that it's cold, it's not hitting as hard. But this one, again, also creates this really beautiful bubble around me of like this melon sort of cocktail that I really truly enjoy. This one is a stunner, and I'm so beyond glad to have this one in my collection. A lot of the collection too is like, it revolves around like drinks, so like cocktails, which I thought was amazing. I love a good cocktail, especially a fruity cocktail. Psh, especially this last weekend, I was not turning the cocktails down. Mama was at a festival, and you best believe that I was smelling like a cocktail everywhere I went. Oh my God, but Hand Grenade is so stellar. Really enjoyed this one. You guys, check it out. My fans of Melon, check this one out. Longevity on this one was around 5 or 6 hours. And it again created that comfortable little bubble around me. But I feel like in high heat, this one is going to be nuclear. I could just smell this drip all day. I'm here for that salted melon. Oh my God, it's so good. I love this. I love this one. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is one that I was really fascinated by. It's one of the newer ones in the collection, and this one is called Brownie Points. Now, I love a good brownie, but when I saw that this one was a strawberry brownie, I was immediately more intrigued. I've been getting really into strawberry notes over the last year or so, ever since Pink Mahogany dropped Sexuality. That strawberry note and Sexuality, chef's kiss. I've talked about that fragrance many times. It's a masterpiece. Well, this one is called Brownie Points. Let me show you what it looks like if I could get this to focus. There we go. I really love the bottle for this one. It's got like this sort of brownie and strawberry on it. You've got strawberry, cream, chocolate, brownie, chocolate, syrup, cognac, vanilla, incense, cedar, sandalwood, and musk. And you guys, this is a gorgeous gourmand fragrance. But what's so interesting about it is that there is a cedar note in this, mixing in with that sandalwood, that gives it that extra something. It's so beautiful. Immediately, I get this chocolatey vibe, but I get this really gorgeous mouth-watering strawberry. It's really creamy and chocolatey. It's dense with a little bit of syrup, but it's also got this dryness to it, which makes it really unique, which I wasn't expecting from a gourmand. I didn't expect this like syrupy meets dry sort of thing it has going on. The incense in this is so smooth, but that cedar note in this, in the base, is absolutely mind-blowing. It almost stops the fragrance from going full-on gourmand territory. It adds complexity and a uniqueness that I've never smelt in a gourmand fragrance before. This is actually really beautiful. I sprayed this the other day and I couldn't get enough. I mean, I woke up and my hair still smelled like it. I doused myself in this because I was in a cloud of heaven. This is so unique. And the beautiful thing about this is that strawberry note. It is so mouth-watering. It's delicious. There is some creamy quality to this. And it's not overtly chocolatey, but it's still very chocolate forward. It's such a unique, complex gourmand fragrance that I'm honestly kind of astounded. Like, this is top tier. I wasn't sure what to expect from this one. I knew I was going to enjoy it because it was going to be a gourmand fragrance, but this really is elevated. This is complex. This is a gourmand fragrance for adults. Like, it is so sensual and sexy. The cognac adds that little extra oomph to the fragrance without being overtly boozy by any means. To me, the star player in this is that strawberry and chocolate. Sensual, mysterious, delicious, divine, lustful. God, this fragrance is really, really nice. Like I said, I can't get enough of this one. This one I've been so happy to wear. And I've been addicted to it, honestly. Like, this is a gorgeous gourmand fragrance that I feel like if a lot of you tried, you would see what I mean. This is stellar. It is really, really beautiful. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is called Burban Street. And if you cannot tell, it is heavily inspired by Burban Street, a famous street in New Orleans. Now, this one, you guys, oh my God. This one blew my mind. I thought this was going to read a lot more masculine, just reading the notes, but really like something I would love to smell on a man. This is something I'd love to smell on me too. This is so sexy. Apple, cinnamon. You've got tobacco, bourbon, tonka bean, sandalwood, vetiver, and vanilla bean. God, this is so addictive. So addictive. On initial blast, you get that tobacco and cinnamon. It's sort of wham bam in your face, but it's immediately met by this crisp, juicy apple note and the smoothness of the bourbon. It's so beautiful and delicious. And as it dries down, you really get that sort of sandalwood cedar vibe. Ah, it's the same sort of vibe that Brownie Points has, but it's now incorporated in a boozy form that revolves around that tobacco, cinnamon, and apple. And when I tell you, this is gorgeous. It is so unique. It's so beautiful. It almost gives me like the closest thing I can think of when I smelled this, but it doesn't smell like it. But the closest thing I could think of was Angel Share by Killian. But honestly, this is so gorgeous. Like, it gives me that same sort of boozy, sort of yummy, delicious feel. But this is unique and stand out on its own. It doesn't smell like Angel Share, but that sort of beautiful boozy sweetness that Angel Share has, this shares too. But like I said, this revolves more around tobacco, the cinnamon and apple, with the tobacco being in the forefront. But as this dries down fully, you get this beautiful rounded out vanilla in the base that really rounds out all the notes to make them so harmonious and balanced and so gorgeous. This is really, really beautiful. I wore this and my God, I was in my own, like I was being intoxicated by myself. Like I was in my own bubble of like deliciousness and couldn't get enough of myself when I wore this one. It's unique, it's stunning, it's a boozy fragrance that isn't harsh in any way. It's very smooth and it's got these beautiful woods behind it, and the sweetness of that tonka and vanilla play so, so well together. I really enjoyed this one. 10 out of 10 fragrance. This one lasted on me for days and it filled up a room. Like, I was so happy with Burban Street. Another one that I would consider a masterpiece. Brownie Points is a masterpiece. This one's a masterpiece. Oh God, there's so many amazing hidden gems in this collection that it was honestly hard to pick what were my favorites. Now, the next ones that I'm going to talk about are in the little sample set that I got. And this one that I'm going to talk about is called Caramel Elixir. Now, I did wear this one earlier, but I'm going to respray it just to refresh myself. This is a gorgeous caramel fragrance. My lovers of caramel, this is a really, really beautiful option. Oh, I really like this one. Now you've got notes of caramel, cinnamon, cacao. You have burnt caramel, chocolate syrup, brown sugar, incense, vanilla, cedar, sandalwood, and musk. And this is gorgeous. Upon initial spray, you get this very sweet caramel. It's very, very sweet. It's almost like caramel and cacao at the same time. You get sort of a burnt vibe, but it's not overtly a burnt sugar or anything. But it's so smooth. And then there's this beautiful incense that wafts in the background, but it's sort of like a white incense. There's nothing overtly dark or anything about this. It's so yummy. And it has this sort of frosted effect. I don't know why, like I think of like frosted caramel. Almost like if you had a powdered sugar that was caramel flavored. That's the sort of vibe that this gives me, like this sort of frosted, powdery, caramel, yummy, delicious, sweet vibe. This is honestly really beautiful. It really develops on skin quite beautifully, and this is again a long-lasting gourmand fragrance that projects pretty well. I got a good 2-3 feet like of projection, and the sillage on this one was so delicious. Really, really beautiful, really gorgeous caramel fragrance. Honestly, like this is one of the better caramel fragrances I've smelt in a while. It's really addictive. It's a beautiful gourmand that anyone that loves a good caramel note should definitely look into. This is stunning. and it works so, so beautiful. So beautifully. I'm sorry. I really enjoy that one. Another one that I would consider a 10 out of 10. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is one called Hurricane. And this one is inspired by another cocktail, the Hurricane. You've got cherry, passion fruit, pineapple, rum, cognac, gin, lily of the valley, orange blossom. You have an ozonic note, sandalwood, cedar, isoe super, and musk. And you guys, I'm going to get this as a full bottle because, whoa, this is stunning. And in summer, this is going to be so freaking good. This is I can't even talk. This is an explosion of yummy fruits. Oh my God, this is so gorgeous. It's airy, it's juicy, it's fruity. It's just like boom, bam in your face. Oh my God, there's something kind of candy-like about this. It is so good. I want to drink this drink right now. Like, this is just stunning. Another one that I would consider a masterpiece and didn't think that this would work as a fragrance, but it works as a fragrance. This makes me crave a Hurricane right now. So juicy, so yummy with just a touch of booze. It's so like, the fruits are in the forefront of this fragrance. It's so hard to pinpoint a fruit. It just smells fruity and delicious, almost like a fruit candy with a slight florally touch and just a touch of gin, just a touch. And the isoe super really makes this such a beautiful fragrance to wear on skin. I love isoe super and the way it interacts with my skin chemistry. It interacts with everybody differently, and this is stunning. Another long-lasting banger, 10 out of 10 fragrance. Super recommend it. The next one that I'm going to talk about is called Daiquiri Original. This one is another cocktail, and this is gorgeous. Orange blueberry, orange blossom, gin, rum, cognac, Mysore wood, musk. This is smooth, it's delicate. This reminds me of a blended fruity drink. Like if you blended orange and blueberry and added gin and rum and then blended it with a lot of ice, it has sort of a cooling effect. It's sort of frosted feeling again. Just a touch boozy, but primarily I get orange and blueberry and a slight floral hint. It's so pretty, so feminine, so gorgeous. My girls out there that want a unique summer boozy fragrance, Daiquiri Original and Hurricane. God, they're gorgeous. Stunning fragrance. The next one that I'm going to talk about is one called Jungle Juice. Now, this is another cocktail that is known to be had down in New Orleans. And again, this is another gorgeous one. Bergamot, blueberry, raspberry, orange, pineapple, apple, blackcurrant, cognac, spiced rum, tobacco, honey, lily of the valley. You've got sugar, ambroxan, patchouli, sandalwood, isoe super, vetiver, musk, and this is another implosion of fruits. It's wham bam in your face fruity, but there's this sort of spice to it. It's not overtly spicy, but this is stellar. This again, I would consider another masterpiece cocktail. I wish I had the full size of this one because Jungle Juice is insanely delicious. I smell this and I crave the drink. That's how much it's transporting me to New Orleans, making me want this damn drink. It is fruity. It's smooth. There's a crispness to this. And even though it has this spiced rum note and tobacco, this would work so beautifully in the summertime. This is a gorgeous cocktail that I would gladly wear on my skin because it's giving me tropical, it's giving me vacation, it's giving me delicious, long-lasting, absolutely delectable. Get your hands on this one. I cannot say enough good things about the cocktail fragrances in this line. Like, they are really, really, really delicious. And I'm not just saying that, like, legitimately, I was kind of shook. I was like, well, we'll see, you know, like, there's a lot of amazing options here from the looks of it, but like, my mind was blown. Now, the next one is called Blue Dog. And I think this is inspired by a sort of folklore story about a blue dog, sort of like entity in New Orleans. You've got rosemary, cardamom, pink pepper, tonka bean, ginger, sandalwood, bergamot, incense, grapefruit, vetiver. There's a marine note in this, patchouli, an ozonic note, ambroxan, musk, lily of the valley, and lavender. And this is a gorgeous aromatic fragrance that revolves around that ginger note. It's very gingery, very zingy, very bright, very summery and springy. I feel like I'm running through like tall grass or something. And there's this beautiful like crispness in the air. This is really gorgeous. I would say this leans a bit more on the masculine side. It is unisex with a slight masculine lean. But when I tell you, this is a stunning, fresh, zingy fragrance with like a slight green aromaticness. My guys out there, get your nose on this one. I think this is an underrated spring and summer hidden gem. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of Twilly by Hermes. But if you turn Twilly and added a slightly masculine aromatic touch to it, you would get Blue Dog. This is absolutely gorgeous. Like, oh my gosh. This develops on skin so beautifully. It's got this aromatic, bright, very gorgeous feel to it. This is stunning. And on a man, this would be killer, killer. Projection on this is insane too. For a freshie, this really lasts and projects. And in high heat, this is going to be stunning. Now, the last one that I'm going to talk about is called Banana Bread Banshee. This is another gourmand fragrance that revolves around banana bread. You've got banana, lemon, cinnamon, caramel, chocolate, brown sugar, a bread note, vanilla, and sandalwood. You guys, this is stunning. This literally smells like banana bread. It's really, really beautiful. If you are a fan of banana and more patisserie notes, so like bready style notes, this is really, really beautiful. You do get the slight sparkling quality in initial opening because of that lemon, but after it settles down within like a second or two, you immediately get this gorgeous banana note with caramel and chocolate. It's really gourmand. It's almost like a banana bread cookie, if I'm honest. This is really, really beautiful, long-lasting, potent. And if you're a fan of banana fragrances or banana notes in fragrances, this one. It's really, really beautiful. 8+ hours on my skin, lasted forever, and projection and sillage on this one were pretty insane. If you want to smell like a delicious snack, look no further. This one. Honestly, it was so hard to narrow down my favorites in this collection. There were a lot of beautiful ones. I was a huge fan of Hurricane, Jungle Juice, the Daiquiri Original, Burban Street, Plum Confiture, Brownie Points, Hand Grenade, Blue Dog, the Banana Bread one, Cafe Beignet, like, honestly, almost all of them. The only one that I found challenging to wear was Voodoo Magic because it leaned more masculine that I would personally wear. But other than that, you guys, 10 out of 10. Like, this collection was superb. And if you want to check them out, I will link them down below so you guys can check them out and try them for yourself. Definitely get a sampler set if you want to try those cocktails, or just go ahead and buy some of the cocktails because honestly, they're kind of worth it. Like, I'm not going to lie, like, price point and everything on point. I will link everything down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. Until next time, I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.